Today, I have quite a lot of news actually to share. Of course, as always, I will go through the data in terms of vaccination and virus in Japan, because I think those are very important to know, to understand when it's going to be possible for the entry ban to be lifted. But also I have some articles and updates that are important for international students. And then later in this video, so make sure you watch all of it. Later in this video, I want to ask you something, and I want to get some information from you that you'll be waiting to enter Japan, to create a video that I think will really help and will really support all of you waiting to enter Japan. But we'll talk about this a bit later. Let's start with sharing my screen here. Let's go here. You should be able to see my screen. So as you can see, cases were going down really sharply. Then the state of emergency was removed a few days ago, and in cases that have jumped up a bit. So I think this is surely connected, and this has caused cases to go high a little bit, which is not good news for us, because of course, as we said before, we want to have these cases really low, so it's easier for the government to reopen the borders. But we'll keep an eye. Things have just started to move. Hopefully it won't go up as it used to be here a couple of weeks ago, 3 weeks ago, beginning of May, but it will stay low down here. And moving on the vaccination, it says here yesterday 731,000. However, I noticed that those data are always updated even 2-3 days after. So it's like they don't have exactly the number of vaccination done the day before right away, but they keep adding again for 2-3 days. So what you can see is last week, I think it's more reliable data, because everything has been already added in. And out of 5 days, besides Friday, which is this one that is a little bit lower, the 1 million line, besides Friday, every day was over 1 million. And I think you know, since this is 1,500,000, it would probably be 1,050,000 or so. So they reached the goal of giving 1 million per day. I mean, at least for the past 4 out of 5 days last week. And also Mondays already of this week, the count is already over 1 million. As I said, I expect those bars to go a bit higher, because they keep adding during the week. So let's keep checking, but at least the vaccination is going really fast now, which means that in a couple of months, 2-3 months maximum, a large percentage of Japanese people will be vaccinated, because it will be 90 million more doses, which means 45 million people, because you know you need 2 doses, 45 million, 50 million people more vaccinated totally, which is, you know, is pretty much 40% of the Japan population, 35-40% of the Japan population, plus the one that are already vaccinated. So over 50% would be vaccinated if they continue with this pace by September, which is good, I think. So hopefully this will continue and maybe even raise a little bit. Regarding vaccine passports, which is something that a lot of international community is talking a lot. This was actually a news from yesterday at 6 p.m. On Thursday 24th at 6 p.m. Japan will start issuing COVID-19 vaccine certificates by late July. Municipalities will be in charge of the administration process. Certificates will initially be issued on paper to allow overseas travel, rather than for domestic activities. Japan hopes to get a digital system up and running within the year, so that users can have e-certificates on their smartphone apps. This is great news. However, it's also been confirmed that at least initially, this will be only for residents going out and coming back in. So when coming back in, they can skip quarantine because of the vaccine certificate. So I think I said this in April when the first news came out, that it was going to be difficult to have it for us waiting to enter Japan from the beginning, and that seems to be what has been confirmed. I still think it's a positive thing in the right direction, but it's not going to affect us right away. So let's hope that when the rest of the world is also using vaccine certificates, there will be enough pressure to Japan to also accept them for inbound business and business travelers and students. I will keep you updated. I think these news they're coming kind of daily. There is a lot of repetition, so I will only report when there is an actual final and new information, because basically every day there is a news about vaccine passports, but this is the final confirmation that it will be issued by late July. It just came yesterday, so that's official, but it's only for residents coming back, not for new visas, unfortunately. But hopefully will be soon as well announced. This is also important to share, and as every link that I show here, it will be also shown in the description of this video, so please go there to get the full article. It's saying basically South Korean business groups call on Japan to ease entry restrictions. So this is focused on business group, but as we know, last year when Japan decided to allow business travelers to enter the country with a business truck, they also at the same time allowed students to enter Japan with a student truck. So I hope, and I hope that this will be together again. So there is pressure from the South Korean government to ease entry restriction for business travelers specifically. And at the same time, this other news that the Alitalia, which is the Italian airline, the national airline, is starting again to flying between Haneda, so the Tokyo airport, and Rome in Italy. And during the presentation there was a conference that the Italian ambassador had to announce about this reopening. It would also clearly mention here in orange, the ambassador also noted that Italy has added Japan to the list of countries that can enter Italy without quarantine, and expressed his strongly hope that Japan will immediately review the criteria for advisory on travel to Italy and the criteria for entry of Italians and European citizens to Japan. In particular, he said that he hopes that students studying in Japan and Italians with work contracts will be able to come to Japan soon. So I think this is really good, first of all, because finally some embassy and ambassador strongly and clearly said about please use reciprocity. So, okay, we are letting Japanese to come in without quarantine, and at least let Italians and Europeans enter with quarantine. So it's not even do exactly the same. You can be more strict if you want, but you should have reciprocity and let also Europeans to enter Japan like Japanese can go to Europe. I think that's the first strong message. I believe if all the embassies would do so, Japan will have to listen. So my hope is that more and more embassy will start making those messages and will really insist that Japan has to open the borders right now, and of course it's safe to do so with the quarantine in place. So again, thanks a lot for the Italian embassy for saying so, and I hope more embassies will say the same. Also, I want to show there were few articles that mention the situation of international students. I think the most we publish, the most we write, and more awareness is raised. So we can't really change the decision that the government is having right now in one day, but we can of course create awareness, and we can pressure as much as possible, talking about the miserable situation the students are having now. And one other article was published. Japan has imposed one of the strictest entry bans globally since the beginning of the pandemic. But while scientists and students are stranded abroad, thousands of athletes and Olympic staff are due to enter the country. Thanks a lot, Max Bernard, for writing this. And going down, there were some interview. They interviewed some students, and they interviewed also some academic staff. Pedretti, which is a student waiting to enter Japan, say that the students didn't expect to be allowed to enter anytime soon, but that they are hoping the Japanese government would at least give some kind of schedule for when it plans to start easing restrictions. We are surprised about the detailed plans that Japan has for the Olympics, often stating that cancellation is not an option. No words, on the contrary, are said about when we are supposed to finally go to Japan. He said exchange programs need months of preparation. Universities are already cancelling their exchange programs for next year because the government doesn't provide them any sort of schedule. And I would add also language students at the same level they have prepared for months, and of course they have to quit their jobs, they have to give up their apartment in their country. They need to make a lot of preparation to move and live in a different country and start a new life, basically. And this limbo that language students, same as exchange students and private students in general, have now is really hurting them in a time where they should be building their career, where they should be, learn a new language, when they should do some part-time jobs in Japan to support also the Japan society as well. And this lack of communication from the Japanese government is unacceptable, as also the student Pedretti here has said. And going down also here, each day of the travel ban made it more and more difficult to justify efforts to succeed and integrate in a country that have proved able to cut the wire on foreign residents for political convenience without hesitation. That's another academic Pascarella concludes in this article. And based on that, I want to show another update, which is related to the fact that universities, as Pedretti has said here, are canceling their October programs. And I want to show this. So before I start reading this, I want to give a huge thank to the 2 students that have messaged me and shared the information that we'll present here. I think it's very important, and everyone is informed about the decisions that universities are taking. And I want to basically go with this with you first. And I've just removed the name of the university staff that has sent this email, but in green here. Therefore, Sejo University states that 2021 fall program will be open to those who can 1. Obtain a Japanese visa, and 2. Arrange an airplane so that they can arrive at Narita Haneda Airport by September 5, 2021. We are currently planning to set the arrival dates between September 1st and 5th. We will provide you with more details later. That's one. And the other one, again, I read the orange one. And furthermore, even if the border once again open in the middle of the autumn semester, it will be difficult to comply with all the entry requirements necessary to receive students. Program in autumn will be completely online. But then under courses says, number of courses may be limited at some class at Nagoya University will be conducted face-to-face. Moreover, please note that the majority of online courses are taught live. This applies especially to Japanese language courses, which are held every morning, Japanese Standard Time. Taking live courses could be very challenging for those students who reside in countries with major time differences. Students living in Europe, in particular, may be required staying up all night. Please take the above situation into consideration. So, I want to just express my thoughts on this. I think, first of all, this is not good news for students. As always, I feel that the people that suffered the most on the lack of communication from the government, the entry travel ban, are the students. They're losing their time, energy, and money. They're losing their scholarships. They're losing their chance to learn foreign language. They're losing the chance to have a study abroad experience. They're really losing their chance of further their careers. And again here, I just a little bit, understand that a university is a big machine, and they need to have everything set up and ready, and they cannot wait themselves for the government to take a decision. I understand a little bit that. But then telling the students that you need to come back, you need to enter by the 5th of September, and even if the borders open later, let's say the border opens the 15th, you could technically start, still come, but no, it's too late. And they're also saying on this other university, saying that, yeah, you can do it online, but, there's not going to be all the classes, and some classes are only going to be face-to-face, and, we're only going to have morning lesson with, of course, for European, and especially a morning lesson means 2 a.m. lessons. And it will be very difficult. So knowing that, still they don't try to adapt. Just sending this type of emails are really, really heartbreaking, and I think mentally are very, very hard to take. So I really hope that university take a bit more in consideration. It's not the university's fault. I'm sure the universities will be very happy to welcome foreign students, so I'm not blaming them for the situation. However, they should be a bit more adaptable. I know on the other side, so I want to spend also a few good words. when there is something positive, it's also good to, of course, comment something positive. I know that language schools have been very, very flexible on saying that, you could start, even if you come very last minute, let's say that you can enter end of September, or even you could enter beginning of July or middle of July. Now, they could still find a way to accommodate you. Most of the schools, okay, I cannot talk with them about every schools because there's always going to be exception, but their mindset is that we understand that the students are really, really, we say in Japan, kawaiso, so they're really struggling. They're really the most suffering this situation. So we will try to adjust. And I hope that also university could do the same in the future. But this is bad news for us, especially for university students. Many universities are either canceling already fall programs, or they're saying that even the border open in September, we basically are not going to be ready to welcome you. So please postpone to April next year because university doesn't have a January term. Or understand that it's going to be very, very difficult for you to study online, etc. So I'm really sorry for that. But I think we have to share this news as well. I want to show you also another article that was published. This article actually was published on asai.com Webronza site. As you can see here, it says that the government should lift the ban on foreign students entering Japan. I will link this article as well. You can use Google Translate to understand the meaning. There is also a section to comment. The good thing about this article is that it's a very popular website, and many Japanese people are reading it. And I think I also left my comment here. But there is also Japanese people commenting, so it's good to expose these issues to Japanese people, and that's basically what we are trying to do. Also, with our education is not tourism.com website, we receive 900 stories from all of you with our form that is also linked in the description. If you haven't filled that form, please do so. But we are uploading day by day, week by week. It takes time, but we are uploading all the stories in English and also in Japanese, and this is helping us. We are working on a couple of other articles in Japanese media that will, of course, help to raise the issue, raise awareness, and pressure the government to let us know when the border will open. So we are working on that right now, thanks to the work we've done with this website. And at the same time, we are also collecting more and more supporters for this website. If you go here in the About Us, it's also in English. I will show the English side. It's easier for the purpose of this video. You can see the information of the group we made. And there is more and more supporters, more and more companies that are messaging us saying we want to support because we think this is unfair. We want to support students. And you can see the list here. And we are, the list is growing. And having supporters, that is not just a name we've added in this page. They're actually actively pushing the website, talking with the media they know to get the information out, and talking with the politician they know to get the issue raised. So it's active actions that we are taking on a daily basis. Unfortunately, of course, there is not going to be as easy as one action means that tomorrow they open the borders. It will take a bit of time, but we are actively working on this, and everyone in this list is really supporting a lot the cause of international students. One more thing I want to show before wrapping up and going to going to ask you the thing I mentioned at the beginning of the video, something that I think is very helpful for everyone. I want to show this European Business Council in Japan that is saying Japanese borders are still closed to most foreign residents. As you know, the EBC, together with the American Chamber of Commerce in Japan, Australian and New Zealand Chamber of Commerce in Japan, and Canadian Chamber of Commerce in Japan, they issued a joint statement on the travel restriction of the government of Japan. Again, very important that those Chamber of Commerce are raising their voice and are supporting business travelers and international students that are stranded outside Japan. They will also have a meeting soon with the Minister of Foreign Affairs and METI, where they will talk about this situation, about the impact of the entry ban on European companies and their Japanese partners. So this is, again, it's a specific for businesses. However, if you are if your business, if you work somehow with Japan, even if you're living in Japan now, or of course your company is abroad but is connected with Japan, you can fill this questionnaire that will help the European Business Council in Japan to support the cause of reopening the borders. And I feel myself, as you know, Gogo Nihon is a Japanese company. However, I'm Italian, and we employ a lot of Europeans, a lot of Western in general, a lot of foreigners in general, also Japanese people. But we fill the questionnaires, and we submit also our voice to support the European Business Council in this initiative. And they will have a meeting, I think, late this month, at the end of June or the beginning of July, which hopefully will bring some results as well. So I will link this on the top of the links in the description, because if you are somehow related with Europe and Japan, you can fill it, and I think the more we send, the better it is. So please do so if you have the opportunity to do it. Last thing, I would like to mention a couple of Twitter accounts, as I always do. This Nyukoku ni Kansuru News is an account I found recently, but is very, very active to share information about Nyukoku, which means entrance to the country, entrance to Japan in this case. So it always shares information about Japan borders mostly. As always, please follow the students, workers, spouses stranded outside Japan account. A lot of updates, a lot of good news, and a community around it that's really trying to support each other in this difficult situation. And I'm on Twitter as well. I share a bit different content on Twitter. I also share my video, but also write a bit more, since it's a bit easier to share. I created this. Of course, it's a very serious situation, the one that everyone is living. But I thought that that really express how we're feeling right now. How this could actually end up. I'm sure that it's going to be before 2070 that the entry ban will be removed. But we don't want to get that old. So please, Japan, really listen to us. Going back to what I said at the beginning of this video, I want to ask you a question. If you are an international student that is waiting to enter Japan, what have you been doing in these months you're waiting to keep yourself positive and keep yourself productive as well? The reason why I'm asking this is because I would like to make a video or an article with the best answers, with the most common answers, and share with everyone. I think that it's very important right now, even though the situation is extremely difficult, even though things are really, really hard and bad for us, it's very important that everyone stays positive and stays productive, since we have all this time that we can use to do something. And if we don't stay positive, then when it's time to enter Japan, basically our mental status, our mental health is not at the right place, and we are not ready to go. And that would be a huge shame, because all of us have a strong passion, a strong desire to go to Japan. And I don't want you to lose this passion. I don't want you to lose this fire that makes you so different, so different from who decides to stay for the rest of their life in the same country where they're born, and just never go abroad, never study a foreign language, never have this type of study abroad experience. And it would be a huge shame. Even more, the loss of 1 year waiting, it would be that you completely lose this forever. I know it's very, very difficult. I can only imagine how hard it is for you right now, going through this, still not knowing when you can enter Japan. But this is not your fault. The decision makers, who has to take this decision, who should communicate, is their fault. And you don't want their misjudgment and their laziness, or whatever you want to call it, you don't want that to cause you even more damage than losing 1 year, making you lose this at all. You don't want to give up. So in order for you to keep it positive and to keep it productive, because you can still do a lot of things in these months, I want to collect the best answers, the best ideas that you can give me. And you can give me those ideas and those answers, writing a comment to this video and letting me know what are you doing to keep yourself positive and productive while you're waiting to know when you can enter Japan. And so that's everything for today. I'll wait for your comment, and I will see you in the next video. Bye.